Hi friends. Many years ago, my cosmic master JadeFire had channeled through me multiple geometric codes, which he termed as sacred geometry codes. These codes are primarily used to heal the chakric system. But at the end, when he had finished giving me all the sacred geometry codes meant for the chakric system, he gave me two more codes. One code is to heal spaces, whether that be a room, an office space, a home. It could also be used as a visualization and an energy healing for, let us say, the earth or a certain city or a certain country. The second code that he gave me was a sacred geometry code to help us to heal animals. It can be used for our pets, but it can be used for all animals. The sacred geometry code to heal spaces. I have put up that code as the picture. You can use that and you can take a screenshot of that and keep that with you. You can then make as many copies of that code and you can use them as you wish. How will you use this code? You can make as many copies as you wish from time to time and make these copies on a blank white paper. It is better if there is no line on that paper because we do not want any other lines interfering with the sacred geometry code. Once you have printed out the code on a sheet of paper, I repeat, white, blank, unlined paper. It can be of any size, that's entirely up to you. You then use it for your space. Now there are different ways in which you can use this. If your space already has a sacred altar niche that you have created, then it would be best if you kept that sacred geometry code on that altar or very close to that altar space. But not all rooms and not all spaces will have the altar. So you can choose where you would like to place the geometric code. Ideally, it is best placed in the center of a room so that its energies radiate in all directions equally. But again, this is just not possible. In fact, I have realized in my own home, I am unable to place this code in any of the rooms in the center. So you can place it wherever you choose, where it's most convenient for you. But where should you not place it? Do not place it inside a drawer. Do not place it in a place that is dusty or moldy or moist. Ensure that the place is dry and very clean. Do not place it where there is darkness. Some places in our rooms don't get enough sunlight. So those corners remain dim or dark. Don't place the paper on which you have printed out the code in those corners. The code requires sunlight, ideally sunlight, in order to radiate its energies into your room, into your space. You can place a crystal, a candle, incense, whatever it is that you wish, on top of that paper. This works in two ways. It ensures that the paper is going to remain and not fly off. And two, the energy of that candle, the energy of the incense, the energy of the crystal will constantly empower the geometry code. Each day, it would be wonderful if you could just glance over the sacred geometry code, and you may wish to make an affirmation, you may wish to chant some switch words, you may wish to make a short prayer, as you wish. But you don't need to spend more than a minute over this. The very first time you install the sacred geometry code, spend a little more time over this. Hold the paper gently between the palms of your hands, and whatever your inner being guides you to do, whether it guides you to chant, whether it guides you to sing a hymn, whether it guides you to pray, whether it guides you to just silently connect with your higher being, please follow your inner instincts. They're always correct. Spend a few moments with that sacred geometry code. By doing this, you are empowering that sacred geometry code with your own divine power. If there is any particular instruction or divine command that you wish to inform the sacred geometry code about, this is the time to do so. So you might, for example, make a command that in this room where I conduct my business always remains a sacred, abundant, joyful, empowered, healthy space, which helps and serves me and all others. So you can make whatever divine command you want of your code. If there is no particular divine command that you wish to make, then there is no need to make one. Being a sacred geometry code for the healing of spaces, the code will do its task even without a specific command. I'm repeating again, every day ensure that the place remains clean. Every day give a little bit of a glance to the code. You may even just mentally reiterate the divine command if you have made a divine command. If you find that the paper is getting old, dry, brittle, no problem. All you need to do is to chuck that paper. You don't need to make a big deal of that. You don't need to burn the paper. You don't need to do anything. You just chuck it. You just trash it. It's lovely. It's going to be recycled, right? So trash it in a manner where it will be recycled. And just put a fresh sheet of paper with the code that has been printed on it. Again, because it's a fresh sheet of paper, spend a little time over it at the very beginning. and then proceed in exactly the same way as you have done with that older paper. I advise my clients, and a lot of my clients have done this, if you are completely redecorating or repairing your home, if there are major repairs that are being done to your home, then this is the perfect time to place that sacred geometry code on the floor before you have tiled the floor, inside the walls, before you plaster and paint your walls. What happens is that that code remains in the very foundations of your home, the floors, the walls, inside the ceiling, and constantly irradiates its energy into the space. So that's a wonderful way of using that code as well. You might wonder whether in a home you need to use only one paper with the code printed on it, or whether every room requires a separate code. Now, that is going to be a decision you will make. But if there is a lot of conflict in the home, if there is dysfunctionality in the home, if someone in the home is suffering from a physical ailment or mental health issues, or there are emotional turbulences, then I would recommend that this be put into every room. When there are physical, emotional, and mental disturbances in our homes or workplaces, the walls, the floors, and the ceilings absorb this energy. You might have actually observed sometimes, but not realized why it's happening. When we have major renovations or repairs being done in our workplaces or in our homes, where we are stripping our walls, where we are taking off the tiles and going to be retiling, certain disturbances take place in our lives. We may feel a little uneasy, we may feel unwell, there may be suddenly little spats and disagreements between family members. The reason why this happens is that when we are breaking through those walls and ceilings and floors, those energies that have been trapped escape. And when they escape, momentarily, temporarily, they create a bit of a disturbance. If you can now remember that the disturbance is being caused because of this, you will then also remember not to fall prey to these escaping energies. So don't allow yourself to get reactive. If you are feeling unwell, don't get anxious about it. Do whatever you need to ensure that you're comfortable, but don't get anxious. Because when you do that, you kind of hold on to those escaping energies instead of allowing them to escape rapidly and smoothly. So that is the way you use the sacred geometry code for spaces. Yes, you can also make small copies of these and put them in your wallet, in your purses, in your travel bags. So you could then divinely command the code to keep the travel bag safe, to bring abundance and wealth and prosperity constantly in a never-ending flow in your wallet, in your purse. So you can use the sacred geometry code even in that way. Many times I have been asked if it is fine to laminate the code. And my answer is an emphatic no. When we laminate anything, because the lamination is plastic, and we all know by now how harmful plastic is as a material, as a substance. What that plastic lamination will do is stop the energies from flowing outwards. The very purpose of placing that sacred geometry code is defeated. We want the code to constantly irradiate our spaces with its sacred energies of abundance, of health, of happiness, of harmony. Another question that I have been asked a few times is, I have placed the sacred code in every room in my home, but the fights and conflicts in the home are still present. Understand one thing, dear friend. The code helps us to help ourselves. When there is a conflict, when there are fights in the home, there is a responsibility that we must also take on. The responsibility of not reacting. The responsibility of not falling prey to the dysfunctionality. The responsibility of moving out of victimhood. The responsibility of creating inner and external harmony to the best of our ability. To the best of our ability. No one's asking you any more than that. But if you use the sacred geometry codes, but continue to behave exactly as per your past patterns, you continue to add to the quarrels, you continue to wallow in the drama, then there is little that the sacred geometry code can do for you. In those situations, what I do recommend, and then that is what works for them, is that before you put the sacred geometry code of spaces, what you need to do is to use the sacred geometry code for your own chakric healing. Of course, those are completely different sacred geometric codes, and if you contact me, if you email me, I will be very happy to give you details. The entire course is available. It's explained to you how each code is used for each chakra, what you can do, when you need to do it, what the code is. It's a long course, it's a very in-depth course, and all of the information, the codes and the information following these codes have all been channeled by me. It has been completely given to me as a precious gift that I use constantly, and that so many of my clients have already been using over the years. So there is a responsibility that we also have to take. We cannot use any sacred tool, and the sacred geometry codes are also a divine tool given to us to heal ourselves, to heal our pets, to heal our spaces. We cannot use any sacred divine tool as a crutch. It doesn't mean that if I place the code in my home, suddenly miraculously it's all going to be sunshine and roses. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. Every sacred tool is a tool of empowerment. It gives us strength. It supports us. But remember, in the human world, eventually there is free will. I remember hearing on a YouTube channel once, the greatest gift given to us is free will, choice. The greatest hurdle that we face is free will, choice. This is the essence of self-responsibility. Use the sacred geometry codes responsibly and ensure that you make the changes required of yourself as well. Only then will that sacred geometry code really help you. Now let's move on to the sacred geometry codes that we can use for our pets. It can be a bird, it can be an animal, it can be a reptile. You use it for domestic animals, you use it for non-domestic animals, entirely up to you. This code can be visualized, and in a visualization placed on top of the animal's body and inside the animal's body. It can also, if it is possible, for example, if your sick pet is at home with you and not at the clinic, then every day for a few minutes, maybe multiple times in a day for a few minutes each, take that paper upon which you have printed out the sacred geometry code to heal animals and place it upon your pet. And then place your palms gently on the paper and the body of your pet. And once again here, let your inner intuition guide you, whether you need to do a visualization, whether you need to send Reiki energy, whether you should to chant, whether you should pray, whether you use switch words, entirely up to you. But it's a wonderful way to heal your pet. If your pet is suffering from an external, let us say like a skin rash or an eye infection or a ear infection or something like that, where you can easily place the paper on that part, then that is even better. But if you can't, and if you can't access the physical presence of your pet because your pet might be in a vet hospital or away from you, or you may be away from your pet when your pet is unwell, you can always use this code and do a very, very strong detailed visualization where you visualize that you're placing the paper with the code on your pet's body, placing your palms lightly and giving the pet your energy in order to help the pet to heal. When you use any sacred tool, whether it be these geometric codes or anything else that you use, the one key factor that a large number of people forget is the element of faith. Without faith, you cannot use any sacred symbol. It will not work for you. When there is absence of faith, or it might be absence of complete faith, it means that there is an element, a degree of fear and anxiety. When there is fear and anxiety, it means that you don't completely believe in the power of that sacred geometric code, or you don't completely believe in the power of any sacred divine tool that you are using. When we are using any sacred divine tool, the law of manifestation, the law of attraction demands that our inner energy give support, strength, and power to the divine tool. It's a symbiotic relationship. The divine tool empowers us, and our energies empower the divine tool. This we must not forget. I completely understand when things get really rough. It is very, very difficult, even for me, to hold on to that 100% faith. If I am honest with myself in those times, I will be able to say, no, my faith is only 60% or 90% or let's say 95%. We are human. I get that. Before you sit for any kind of a healing, before you sit to heal your pet, do a little bit of breathing, do a little bit of meditation to calm that inner fear, to allay that inner anxiety. You can have a wonderful mantra that you love playing in the room at the time. You can have a candle there lit, you can have incense. All of these objects, yes, they are objects, but they are objects that emanate a lot of sacred energy, and their energy helps our disturbed energies to calm down. So create a sacred space for yourself, do a little bit of meditation, get into a really connected zone, a zone where there is so much inner peace, and then seamlessly move from that energy exercise or meditation to the use of the sacred code. You will find that the sacred code works marvelously when you are empowering it and allowing it to empower you and your pet. If you are using medicines for your pet, if you are using vitamins for your pet, if you are using essential oils for your pet or batch flower remedies, then in that tray where you have kept the medicines, the oils, the remedies, put one paper with the code printed on it in that tray. That code will continually empower the medicines, the oils, the remedies, whatever it is that you're using for your pet. That's a wonderful way of ensuring that your pet is constantly healthy. Another thing that you can do is wherever you keep your treats for your pet or your dog food, cat food, pet food, you can place a small chit of paper with that code on it inside that box, inside that container. Of course, be careful that you don't give that paper to your pet. Allow your inner being to suggest to you different ways to use both these codes. And remember, if you feel that you are in a state of acute panic, or you are in a state of rage, or you are in a state where you're very, very distressed, first use the sacred geometry codes to heal yourself, to heal your chakric system, and then use these codes. If you wish to ask me about the chakric codes, please email me at Ellaeenah@JadeFirelight.com, and I will be very, very happy to share the details of this course with you. I really hope this video and these codes will help you. They have helped me so much, and they have helped my friends, my family, and my clients so much that suddenly this morning I got this kind of an inner thought. Why am I not sharing this with the world at large so that people live in spaces that are happy, and people are able to ensure that their pets are as healthy as their soul journeys can make them? Because remember, just as you and I have our soul journey, so does our pet. All the very best to you. A big, big hug.